right, good evening. Welcome to part two of the Fenway PCC thing from last time. This is pretty much just me heading over to doing a thing up to Boston in 2008. Got to the first part involved heading up on Amtrak, heading out to Mattapan on the PCCs. Now we're going to finish up stuff at Mattapan and then head back towards Boston. Pretty quick set, shorter than usual, but this is interesting because it was right after they rebuilt the terminal. The PCCs are pretty shiny. 15 years later, that's not quite the case. I was out there more recently in the fall of 2003, or not the fall, the winter of 2023. Anyway, sorry about that. Let us begin. It's going to be a short set tonight, only about 34 photos. As I said last time, we did leave off at the Mattapan terminal. I only have film pictures, or maybe I've gone over it once before. I visited here before, and it had a lot of wood shelters, stuff like that. So this was nice to sort of see it all spruced up. And also, as I said, a lot of the PCCs were still looking pretty good, at least paint-wise. So here we have number 3238. Today, 3238 is held for truck work, currently being rebuilt. That was it in 2019. So that's a plus. Very nice day. You can see the weather in these photos. Here we have 3250. There's a lot of them out. They seem to only be running like one or two now. I'm not sure if there were service cuts or whatever. I'm not sure. I'm also not sure how much MBTA has really embraced. They need to embrace higher headways. One thing I didn't do is go over to Boston. I usually get the maps all set up before I start the stream. Not that long ago, I think I mentioned I was in right near the Ashmont station, staying over for a convention at a friend's house. So anyway, there's Mattapan, and yes, that is a crew base right there. And like a nice T arch. Transit police. Yeah, it's nice. They, like I said, the time I was here before they put that in, you know, you'd go here and people were like, "Go, you're here to buy drugs?" I'm like, "No, I'm just my drug is the PCC." So there you go. So here you have 3254. That one is also being held for truck work. For those of you who don't know, there's a whole thing on PCC trucks. Some of them are fabricated. That means they're made from parts that bolt together. I think there are a few that are cast. There's all these things because there was no one PCC builder. It was a bunch of specs. So Pullman built some. St. Louis Car built some. Some of them were had air compressors. You know, they're air electric cars. Some of them only had electric brakes. Don't know how exactly that worked, but I think it involved a spring. So there's all sorts of little different variations of how you would get PCCs. I don't know the details of the Boston ones. I'm sure someone will be angry because I'm not here talking about all the different ways. The PCC page should probably tell you what they are. I can't remember if I heard a compressor when I was there. Here's 3262 with the MBT bus 2235. $22, 3262. Oh man, this is one that was wrecked, and ironically, it's in the same, almost in the same place I'm seeing it there. This had a 2017 collision. That's a parts donor right now. Well, that's unfortunate, but I'm glad that I got a photo of it. Oh, they said it's highly ironic that I got it in the same place that it's now sort of stored right now, in the yard. So farewell, 3262. I salute thee. There's the storage yard, and that's where, there's the one that got crumpled in. And there's your shops. And it looks like there is an escape track there to get to the loop. So you can go out of the yard. I love PCCs the way that with the loop systems. With double-ended cars, it's so boring without the loops. They did have this little escape track there they removed the switch for. I guess they just never used it. I don't know which car this is, but it's one of the ones I saw recently. Not that one. Maybe it is that one. Maybe I knew back in the day. I didn't, let's call it 3263. Well, no, it would have been next to me. Maybe it is 3263. This is one of the photos that I cut. Not sure if that's a fabricated truck or what. Those are the electromagnetic track brakes. Those, all of them have the electromagnetic track brakes, but those are they have the electric cars will also have those brakes that they can use in service. These are effectively emergency brakes for LRVs. The way these work, it's very simple. It's an electromagnet with friction material. It's activated and it just pulls itself down onto the rail, and it's really effective at panic stops. If you're ever wondering, oh, have I been on a train where these have been used, you would know. They make this like thing, and then everybody who's standing is thrown to the floor. But this is why these track brakes are why LRVs have such superior, can run in traffic and not, unlike a regular locomotive or commuter rail thing, you have to slow down a mile ahead of time. These let these run at, with car or automotive deceleration rates. Here we have, I think, the same guy going around the loop. Yep. 3263 heading around the loop here. Kind of backlit, but I can fix that. And back around at the platform after rounding the loop. Mattapan still has they discharge on that far platform and reboard here. They don't let you ride around the loop, but they're effectively not collecting fares. So it doesn't really matter. If you're counting your transfers, it's not a huge deal. Usually they won't, they'll open all the doors at all the stations, so you just get on the back if you don't want to swipe in with whatever you're doing. If you're transferring off the subway, it shouldn't cost you any more. And if you're traveling back to the city, you're going to have to pay for the subway anyway, so you might as well swipe on. Lets them know about the, lets them build their, get better ridership figures. Oh, I do have a better truck image, so I can overwrite that older one. I love the paint on these wheels. This is absolutely fantastic. Looks super nice. A fresh coat of paint goes a long way to making things look nice. So here I have a quick shot of the. Keep going to that picture. The rebuilt trolley wire. So I mean, there's nothing super special about this except this is brand. They rebuilt the whole terminal, so all the trolley wire work was new at the time, which is pretty cool. It's cool when you still have the ability to get this sort of like these insulators, the grooved wire, the hangers for it. That there's still enough demand that they can still get that stuff built. Streetcar museums frequently have to every time when these rebuild jobs happen, all the old insulators will be shuttled off to various streetcar museums. They love being able to get these. New York City subway was a huge one. Almost everything that was part of the New York City subway went to the New Jersey Transportation Heritage Museum. They haven't done a lot with it recently, but it's all there. Now, I mean, when I say recently, they will these museums, streetcar museums, love trading stuff. So they will go and trade wire. They can be like, we'll trade you a wire frog for we'll trade you 10 wire frogs for a motor. So New Jersey, sorry. So, while the New Jersey Transportation Heritage Museum might not be actively running streetcars right now, they might be, trading up to get there. There's one of those nice bucket sodium vapors that you don't see anymore. They got wiped out by the 2008 light bulb efficiency law. I mean, honestly, you don't really need them anymore because of LEDs. But they were definitely. I remember driving through rural Pennsylvania, and every damn garage had one of those things. I wonder if that crossover is there. Oh, it is still there. One second. Man, everything here looks really nice. The poles are all painted. It didn't look bad when I was there in 2023, but it didn't look as fresh as it did then. The whole line, I guess, had gotten some degree of rehab. You can see how shiny the overhead catenary or the trolley wire is here. Here's 3268. I probably mentioned it last week, but let's see what's up. Active. There we go. It might be one of the ones that I saw when I was there in 23. Unlike other PCC or streetcar areas, this is standard gauge. Unlike Pennsylvania streetcar gauge, which is popular in Philly, Pittsburgh, and New Orleans. I like having these cheat sheets. This is Valley Road. Huh, that's not right. So I forget. I think that at some point on this trip I noticed that they weren't really taking tickets or whatever they were doing back then, or had a day pass, which I think the MBTA had for a while. So I did get off at a certain point to get some more photos. And here's 3238 leaving Valley Road. And that's it for our first set. It's so cool that like they're still running. I'm sure the MBTA is terrified of that, but you still can go and ride the Mattapan PCCs. A whole bunch of them seem to be active. They don't seem to be running more than 2 or 3 at a time. But I would recommend going down there. Yeah, yeah. That Brian made the great point that that looped layouts is it's shared by PCC systems and model railroads. I was at an event this week where they set up a bunch of model railroad stuff. It was cool, but it was all loops and nothing where you could have a collision because they can't really do block signaling that easily. Getting these straight can be a little hard with the perspective. So I guess their plan is to put the Type 9s on this line. The issue's always been a couple of bridges. I don't know if they're going to have to rebuild them or not. I love this tunnel effect you get here. This is in May, so the leaves are just starting to pop here, early May. It's crazy that the Boston, New England can expect frost into May. When I was in Connecticut, I always figured that the last snow you'd get was going to be in April, early April. But the inland in parts of New England, you can still get frosts into May. I mean, currently, or at least within recent memory. That'll get it. There we go. This is the station sign. There we go. So I'm going to pull out my old perspective correction. I didn't learn about this tool until at some point. I was like, I was this days old when I learned about this tool. But it's nice when you're taking oddball angles of signs. And one more. Here we have an opposing number 3087. Let's see what's up with 3087. It's still active today. Great picture. I'm not sure if someone told me to go to Valley Road for these photos or I just noticed it. But here you can see the tunnel effect of the right-of-way to the full effect of the tunnel effect. And a closer one. This is one of those things where if you don't have an unlimited pass, at least back in the day, today a lot of systems have gone with unlimited transfers within 2 hours or 4 hours, which is really the way you want to go with it. But back when it was the more strict pay per ride, and I was younger and more of a cheapskate, it was always like, do you want to get off the train and pay $3 for a photo? And usually I felt offended by that. That font looks very Penn Central-y for some weird reason. I want to capture it, but it's going to make the photo pretty big. Oh, that works. Squash this in a little bit more. So I'm just trying to make size right now. All right, there we go. For whatever reason, I took another picture of the info board. I love that font. And here we have 3263, still active today, and heading toward Valley Road in, what the hell, did I do this twice? Whatever. It's gone now. 3263 heading toward Valley Road. Nice PCC vent. This is what the PCC 2s don't have. Because they were completely gutted and rebuilt for SEPTA, they don't have neat little details like this. They have some stuff that like mimics it, but not the originals. Don't know if these PCCs had air conditioning, though. They probably didn't. I think they do now. I think they retrofitted them somehow. And back at Mattapan with 3263. I love the fact that this is a completely dedicated right-of-way, but they still have the little stop things in the taillights. Um, 1700 series 01728 from the Ashmont loop. I did get photos up. I did get similar photos when I was there the last time. I'd love to know all the destinations on those roll signs. I mean, of course, they're going to have Alewife, Braintree, and Ashmont, but I'd love to know what the short turn signs are. Maybe they have a Park Street, probably. Probably have a JFK UMass. And here are new overhead lines at Ashmont. That's an interesting little, like this little triangular bit here with the one in the middle to give it the sort of the sideways. So that's the vertical hanger, and that's putting sideways tension on it. All right, we're done our second round. Told y'all it's going to be a short one today. And we're going to finish with some Fenway Park photos. And some other random ones, too. I mean, a lot fewer Fenway Park photos. So I did a bunch of Fenway Park photos when I did this the first time. So here we have the view from the Mattapan Loop platform. My camera I had at this point, my original digital camera. Again, these are all mid-range. They're not like point and shoots, but they're not like some sort of reflex lens. So my first one was 3x zoom. This one had 10. This probably is about as zoom as I'm gonna get in. My new ones are like 30. I can zoom down way at that platform there. In fact, I can just show you. Why don't you just show us the number of movies you want to see? All right, hold on. Check this out. Yeah, here we go. Here's the same place, and here's what I can do with my more modern technology. Oh wait, oh it was a video, not a still. Wait, maybe I have a still. Here's like a similar one I can do today. I'm not sure if this is maxed out, but that's still compared to the technology before. This is 3254. That one is truck work currently. That's a nice picture right there. Yeah, the way the loop works gives you the ability to get these sort of straight-on photos. I don't know if the MBTA was still jerks about photos in 2008, but they were definitely, it was sort of fading. But I'm sure that I was still, whatever. Now, there's a guy with a camera. Was he with us? I don't know. Or was he just happened to be here? Oh, I can get that whole Ashmont scissors crossover there. It's interesting. Wow, this one's cut. I don't know why I cut this. And I don't know if I can perspective correct this. That's cool. The MBTA subway division logo here. All right, now we have a couple Fenway Park photos. I know these aren't rail fan related. Oh, there it is. All right, I'll rename that. I don't need it. So I'm not doing all these. I just have a couple. Back in '08, I remember in the '90s, it was so easy to get Red Sox tickets. This seat would have cost $13, like right in there. By '08, with a couple of World Series under their belt, those ticket prices were long gone. I had a friend who lived in Boston, and he was a guy who could do like weird ticket arbitrage stuff. He would do eBay sales and knew how to get all the angles back before they really locked down online platforms. Back in the early days of the 2000s, anyone with the few people who know how to use the internet could go on and buy all the tickets, and my friend would resell them. He specialized in things like obstructed view and standing room. For example, like a general admission ticket was cheaper than standing room, but you could always stand with a general admission. So you could always sell them for, more, for example. Anyway, we got tickets that day. I remember the previous time we'd come, I'd gotten better tickets because you had stuff. Today, all we could get was standing room. Although, no, we were doing the thing with the GA tickets that we could go to standing room. Here we have the pregame. Man, it feels like so long ago. I'm generally pro Red Sox because the alternative is the Yankees. You get to pick one. I'd way rather have the Red Sox. I love this is their manual scoreboard. I believe so. There's got to be. I think there's a modern stadium that has manual scoreboards for the nostalgia factor. But both Fenway and Wrigley have legit manual scoreboards. You see him on things like CBS Sunday Morning about the guy whose job it is to work the manual scoreboard. This is after the Green Monster seats had been installed. They cantilever out over whatever street is behind there. Oh, this is '08. Phillies would win the World Series this year. Looking at standings. Out there somewhere is the famous red seat. There it is. That's the longest ball ever hit in the park. This is all pregame. They don't have a lot of ushers because the games are all selling out, so you don't have to have ushers telling you where to go. That's mainly a problem with bad teams like the Orioles because the stadium's never full. There's the famous Citgo sign. It's weird how that it does. You always have this idea that the Citgo sign directly overlooks the stadium, but it doesn't. It overlooks Kenmore Square. Kenmore. So it's like Mandela effect. Like did they move it? I could have sworn that it was facing this direction. Anyone wants to know where it is, it's right back in here. I was just down to the music venue next to it for a corporate event. It is Kenmore. Here's during the game. Sorry, I'm cutting a bunch of these because I don't really need like non-railroad stuff up in whatever I'm doing. I've got all these. Or I don't need to redo the non-railroad ones, but I wanted to redo a couple. I'm redoing the ones that are mainly for the manual scoreboard and such. So, for example, the way the manual, I mean, there's a guy back there, and he looks out through there and there and there to sort of figure out what's going on there. With the error, those are your at bat. You know, it's pretty self-explanatory. At bat, three balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Is that a hit? Is that an error? If it is an error, they light up the number. Today, the Red Sox didn't seem to be doing that well. Well, I mean, they're only down 3-0 by the 8th, but that didn't look very great. Manny's on his phone. Or no, he's just looking at his hand. There were a couple times where Manny Ramirez would just strolled into the Green Monster. There's like a door there. There's the door. He just like rolled in like during the game, between innings. And I couldn't tell you who's on the Red Sox today. Those 2000s teams are really pretty cool. So last bit, this is here we have the thing all lit up there. But that's not a very good quality photo, so I'm going to cut it. So 2 things I am going to add though, can help me find this. That night immediately after the game was over, this I think I'm sure, I made my way back to Albany. We took the D train out to, people don't realize that the D Riverside goes, come on, where's Boston? There it is. The D Riverside pretty much goes to a giant park and ride right at the Beltway. So from there, you can go get on the Mass Pike, and you can be in Albany in like 2 hours. It's crazy how quick it is to Mass Pike versus the Boston and Albany. Anyway, so there's Albany. And I guess I didn't do any, I was with my friend. I guess I didn't really do any rail fanning in Albany. But we took pictures at one of the transmission sites for the Albany Troy area. So what is it? WNYT? Let's see if we can find that. The hill has a name. There it is. It's on Bald Mountain. So the question is, how am I labeling my Albany photos lately? Good question. Let's find out. Not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's New York _ Albany or what. Let's try my old non-railroad photos here. I do have a lot of Albany, but do I have New York Albany? Oh, this is more Troy than anything, so. Oh, I guess it's I can use just the transmitter location. There we go. Where was I looking at this? Oh, there's the fence line. I think we just drove right up there. Oh, wow. The Google Street View went all the way the heck up there. And it went up there a year before. So it's funny sometimes seeing how bold the Street View cars used to be. This guy just went right up that damn dirt road. Here he is going up a driveway. Holy crap. Wow, they don't do this anymore. That's crazy. The Street View car just went like up this random driveway. Looks like someone tried to put up a gate-ish thing. Anyway, sorry to delay you there. And here we have the WNYT TV station transmitter site. And it looks like it's got their satellite feed dishes up there too. They can probably do a lot of the signal switching right at this location. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for attending. Let me go see if we have any questions in the chat. I'm sorry I didn't look. Yeah. When they put the Type 9s, well, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if they keep the Ashmont loop. That's going to be tough. Otherwise, you have to put an interlocking in. They might just keep that loop. MBTA did keep the only loop they really got rid of is the Leechmere one. That was the only one that was too small for the Type 8s. They're not going to build anymore. They'll probably remove it at Mattapan. But I think Ashmont will keep its loop because it's built in concrete. I'm sure some of the PCCs in San Francisco, I mean, unless they're, St. Louis first Pullman or something like that. Oh yeah, in the picture about the Mattapan line. Hold on. Yep, there's the the red line connector switch. I mean, ultimately, that's how you would get anything delivered on there, via a connector to the red line, and then a railroad connector to the red line, and that a connector to this. Although, to be honest, all this stuff's transported in trucks these days. All right. Well, thank you so much. What is WNYT these days anyway? Let me check that out. NBC affiliate Capital District. Yeah, not more about that. All right, I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much. I might be having a bunch more of these in the upcoming days. Look around next either Sunday or Monday, depending on what's going on. And have a wonderful weekend. And thanks for showing up. All right, have a great day. Laters.